The colors of the coat of arms of the race are depicted as follows. At the top, the purple gray sky that you get during summer thunderstorms in Lac La Biche. Below that, canola fields in blossom. Below that, the lake, and in the lake, a whitefish. However, careful observation shows that there is another coat of arms hiding behind the first coat of arms. And it seems that the colors on the second coat of arms are reversed from the first. And therefore comes the motto of the Navy. Nihil est ut videtur. Latin for nothing is as it seems. And a plain argument encouraging careful reading. The Desperado Sailboat Race is a modern day cover of John Milton's famous poem, Paradise Lost. To simplify it, it is the age-old replay of the battle between the forces of good and evil. A battle that seems to be raging even today, so much later, with perhaps even a greater ferocity. The race was started by a young lawyer who came to Lac La Biche in the late 70s, a man called J.Kozina. In 1980, he decided to start a sailboat regatta in Lac La Biche. There hadn't been one previously. By 1983, he had purchased a white Navy outfit and, without any protocol at all, declared himself Commodore of the regatta. In 1983, also began a poster series depicting and advertising the regatta, posters done as serialgraphs, silk screens by artists. And the series ran from 1983 until 1990. And the posters can be seen both at the Bold Center, at Portage, and at MacArthur Place. In those early days, the Polish artist Jan Fomin from Warsaw, Poland, visited Lac La Biche for about a year and a half. And he did the first two of the Desperado posters for 1983 and 1984. Later, the posters were done by Anthony Pavlik of Edmonton, and after that, Robert Van Schaik of Edmonton, who then worked for Portage second in command to the Commodore was Master Gunnery Sergeant Barry Rudiger, who turned out to be a rogue. He tried a mutiny using dark ships suspected of not being under sail power but rather powered by quiet motors. And although the mutiny was suppressed, Master Gunnery Sergeant Barry Rudiger got away. He was never captured. But to this day, sometimes, when the light is just right, many people claim to see his ghost ships looming on the horizon. Although the mutiny was suppressed, a few years later, Sawbone Sam, a pirate, ran his own mutiny and in a bloodless coup took over the sailboat race. And Commodore J.Kozina, who by that time had been promoted to Rear Admiral, the mayor then was his next door neighbor, just coincidentally. The Rear Admiral disappeared and was never seen again to this day. The race was now run by a bunch of pirates. Gone were fashionable ladies parading on the big dock in silk parasols, the laughter of children. The race was run by pirates. But those who live by the sword often die by the sword. Sawbone Sam disappeared as mysteriously as he appeared. Has never been seen since. A distant relation of his, Paul Arsenault, knows the truth, but will not reveal it. With the disappearance of Sawbone Sam, a vacuum of anarchy was left to run the race. Luckily, at that point, stepped in Trevor Funk. Trevor Funk introduced the new democratic era to what had been a tyranny previously run by a pirate. In his time, he handed the baton on to Tracy Caddy. And Tracy Caddy ran it until this day, when she is throwing the baton onwards into the future. In the future, the race looks to Wally Peters for leadership, looks to Leona Geller of Portage. But that's the future. But to speak of the past and all of these persons, there is one person who held the powwow together, not only the race, but more generally the powwow, and especially during its last 10 years. Those last 10 that were perhaps the hardest ones to get to the 50th anniversary. And that person, perhaps the spirit of powwow, would be Karen Lewinsky. And I think that this would be a good opportunity to end my presentation and to give a big hand to Karen Lewinsky.